Abuse in any form isn't going to go away, but this feels different. This seems like something needs to be urgently addressed soon, or it will spiral out of control. A New Boogeyman by Margo, written by the author on September 9th, 2016. I started at first thinking that a person such as this couldn't have had a soul, born without it or lost it along the way. A level of hatred that high must be agony to be comfortable with anyone, yet this mysterious figure, guarded by a screen, watched all over in parts of the world, seems to be adored yet lauded. They must not feel anything, because in the 2 years that person, known as Tapdeck, has been circulating on the darkest parts of the internet, he has been heard about and then quickly dismayed. What frightens me the most is that school kids know about him, and they joke about him like a cyber boogeyman. But that stigma has also led to a disruption in some parts. Tapdeck is played about for laughs, but in some instances his influence has been a vocal point in online abuse. Abuse in any form isn't going to go away, but this feels different. This seems like something needs to be urgently addressed soon, or it will spiral out of control. Last week on the 2nd of September, an 11-year-old was left with broken bones after a school day. The 3 students guilty of this attack broke his arm, yet oddly they turned themselves in, knowing full well of their consequences. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that how many school tragedies have occurred from young, impressionable, or damaged individuals when people have least expected it? Columbine, Elliot Rodger, anyone? It only takes something to set something up. Only now, it'll be 10 times worse. As my investigation led me down the rabbit hole further, I noticed that no matter how unspeakably vile these people were, there are sympathizers and admirers. Yes, our culture loves to bring the family around the TV together to watch in delighted intrigue of horrible events like these. The new American pastime, studying serial killers like we're all qualified members of our local forensic units. But this is the tame compared to what lies underneath the soil. There's something nested down there that is rotten, and it's attracting wildlife. Wildlife that will react violently to its unknown properties. This is what I believe Tapdeck is, a bad apple, and he needs to be plucked from the tree. I don't know how far I'll have to go before finding something concrete to back up my feelings on this, but it'll be worthwhile for any of my followers reading this. Tapdeck, Study His Name, by Margo, written by the author September 10th, 2016. Upon my initial visit, I thought this website was a joke like the meme suggested, but when scanning its live forum chat, I found that this website was just a door to the real thing. For those who don't know, if you want to see anything on the uncrossed and uncensored section of the World Wide Web, you have to hop on Tor, a search engine that not even my JavaScript can't even seem to work well on. It was invented by the US Navy to relay back to each other from far away, so when I say anything can be on there, it can. I came to notice a lot of the websites on the deep and dark portions of the web are either very bland, some even having just some plain text in the top left corner of the screen, and that's about it, or will give your eyes a seizure with all the slapped-on JPEGs. That's all that door was to seeing Tapdeck. Nothing but a silhouetted image that somehow looked like a peel-off sticker with a blue text link below it, standing out against its odd pink backdrop. The door has something to offer, though, which is why I guess the majority of school kids go on there. Tapdeck has his own emojis and GIFs for download. How sweet. It's as if Max Headroom was making a comeback. When I clicked the link, however, I saw what was really going on. I called it a rabbit hole for a reason. Link after link after link. I trailed down at least 22 different tabs to get to the core of things. Some of the tabs were a black page with a video on it with the link below it. Remember those introduction videos companies used to play to their new employees? This was the internet's version of that, but not for a product people could leave Yelp reviews on. Tapdeck appears to be sat in the middle of some room behind a desk and presented himself as the edgiest kid in the class. Sat in front of a light, appears to be wearing some sort of mask, distorted voice and music, and of course, a tape machine in front of him on the desk. I'll save you the drawn-out transcript for another time. As I finally reached the base layer after a conveyor belt of cookie-cut video messages, I was brought to a sudden halt of confusion. 3 cassette tapes were on the screen with the words "Believe," "Act," and "Relish" written on them separately. Fearing for another lecture, I closed my tabs. I know I'll be back on there, but I think you should hear what Tapdeck has to say, which made me cringe at first. Ramblings of a Madman by Margo, September 12th, 2016. These video messages were compiled into one single transcript by the editorial team.
So you've taken the initiative to be here. How nice. This is only a one-way street from here on out, so I suggest you stick to it and don't waste my time. One person monitors this website, and that person is me, your teacher. I ask you not to talk or question anything I say because someone needs to give you the truth about yourself. We're all the same here. We all have our tribal cannibalistic needs, yet you can't seem to achieve them. Why is that? I believe you've been denied many times, and your inability to look in the mirror and criticize yourself is all down to your dumbed-down behavior. We're all special, aren't we? That's what they say. We're all winners. So why are you at the back of the queue? Weak. That's what you are. Softer than the bed you're laying in. You do nothing to help yourself. You won't change your attitude, and you're stale because of it. Why do you continuously burden yourself with the society's needs except your own? You were hurt, won't you? Don't worry. I was too. Family, lovers, we all need to satisfy someone, but how much of yourself do you sacrifice to get the attention you need? It all should be about you and your needs. This may sound evangelical, but I know what's best for you, and it's in that mind of yours. How often have you sat there thinking about all the imbeciles that come in contact with and know that the world would benefit so much from them not being here? It's a natural thing to think. You're not a psychopath. It's natural for people to daydream about killing their boss in a gruesome fashion. I'm here to tell you it's okay to do it. Don't think about it. Do it. This realization that you have the power to do this is nothing short of your ancestor's spirit. Our primal instinct is to be ahead of the pack, but society's ever-changing landscape has forced us to do it in different ways. Nothing beats the satisfaction of destroying your enemies. The more enemies you have, the greater the feeling. But while you dream it, you can't act on it because you embarrass yourself by twiddling your thumbs and latching onto failures. That's why you're here. That's why you're hidden behind a username, password, and an avatar. I'm going to get rid of that for you and make you look at your fat, pathetic self. Good. Now let's start.
My webcam comes on without permission.
It seems I have a lot to work with.
Tapdeck flips the cassette in the machine to side B. The tape is heard rewinding before stopping at Tapdeck pressing play.
You're a good one. I can see beauty in a mental mess. How about we share a room for a second? You see, very different of you and I, but this is what godhood looks like. Never worrying, never caring about anyone other than yourself. Don't you want that feeling? My problems have been taken care of. Even though they are hidden away in the deepest corners of my mind, I don't let them hook me. I let them drive me. If I ever see those problems again, I skin it alive and leave it to rot. You will soon be the alpha species. Now, I just leave it up to you to choose.
Three Tapes by Margo, September 13, 2016. This is unreal what I've seen. Tapdeck talks like a life coach, but it's really presenting something dastardly. I've already reported this to the police department, but how well it will be looked into is another thing. Websites like these and their creators take ages to be properly tracked down. They'll essentially see this and then narrow it down to an art project. That's if I didn't show them these 3 tapes. 3 labeled 3 different slideshows. The first one, labeled Believe, was a wall of Polaroid pictures smeared by grubby fingerprints on its white square outline, containing images of people showing their love to Tapdeck. What I assume is blood written on their t-shirts read things like, "I have found me," or "This is the path," relating to his words of supposed wisdom. The Act tape gave me another sight that I wish could be erased. It showed me a live cam of people inside a dark room, lit by a green infrared. They were clothed but badly beaten and taped at the mouth. They just wandered around aimlessly, bumping into one another until a bright light blinded them temporarily. A wide door was seen at the back, opening up with a large brute of a man stepping inside. The feed cutting as the muffled screams of the inhabitants tried to huddle away. I had no idea if this was alive or pre-taped like the rest. I was still doubtful until I refreshed it. The video kept playing, and the masked man was dragging a woman out by her hair, still gagged and bound by the black tape across her mouth, while the others looked on in horror. All that was left now was the relish tape. What more could this madman have installed for me? It was nothing at first. All 3 tapes disappeared as soon as I clicked it. That's when I was shaking from my chair as any laptop went to a blue screen, and staring right back at me was Tapdeck, live and in person. He referred to me by name, showing that short moment my webcam opening up was enough for him to know everything about me. I questioned him and he answered, but only with a set of coordinates before he pressed a button on his cassette tape and the screen returned to normal. I say normal. My computer needed about 6 reboots before it was back to normal. I have my lead, and I'll have my answers. Big scoops like this come to journalists when the person is in custody, but not today. If I can prove that what I found is enough for people to watch this guy closely, then I'd have done my job. I'm getting the whole pie here, and hopefully, this pie is enough to feed everyone for a week.